In an era when most children fled from chaos, a diminutive figure with a camera around his neck ran towards it. Lo Man Hung, scarcely 12 years old amidst the Vietnam War's maelstrom, stood as Saigon's most improbable photographer, and likely the youngest in the entire nation. Hung's tale does not commence on a battlefield, but in the shadowy sanctuary of his father's dark room. Lo Vin, a veteran freelance photographer, introduced his son to the dance of light and shadow, the shutters click a steady cadence in Hung's youthful days. By 11, with Vietnam engulfed in conflict, Hung refused to linger on the sidelines. As his father's apprentice, he ventured into Saigon's heart, armed with a camera and a courage that belied his years. His slight frame, a hindrance in many situations, proved an asset in the war-torn streets. Hung could slip through rubble and weave through alleys inaccessible to adults. Yet, his youthful visage presented its own challenges. Authorities frequently halted him, perplexed by a child's presence in such peril. Undeterred, Hung, brandishing his father's credentials and an iron will, garnered reluctant respect and access to stories others could not reach. During the Tet Offensive in 1968, Lo Man Hung's renown grew. He was often seen shadowing ARVN troops deep into VC-controlled Saigon, capturing images he would sell to both local and international news outlets. Eventually, Hung left Vietnam, establishing a photo shop in San Francisco. In 1998, he reunited with former AP photographer Horst Foss. It's chronicled by the San Francisco Examiner. In San Francisco, Foss was astonished to meet Jimmy Lo Hung, who, as a 12-year-old, had taken photos for AP during the Tet Offensive, and now operated his own shop on 9th Street. Hung presented a picture of himself, helmeted and marked with press, along with a laminated article titled, "Boy, 12, in Dangerous Jobs." "They paid me $10 per photo," Hung recounted. "In Vietnam, that was a fortune, enough to support my family for a month." Hung lost all his photographs and negatives when the North Vietnamese overran the South. "I only had minutes to escape," he recalled. "I was pulled onto a helicopter filled with soldiers. They held my leg as it took off. So many trying to get on. Some didn't make it. Some fell." Foss, seated beside Hung, expressed his joy. "I didn't even know this kid was alive. I'm really happy to see him." An article from the Southeast Missourian on February 14, 1968, titled, "Boy Photographer Seeks Danger as Others Flee," penned by John Nance, described the unusual sight of a 12-year-old boy darting into street battles, seeking out danger with deliberate intent. Barely over 4 feet tall and just over 60 pounds, bright-eyed Lo Man Hung wore his cameras like badges of honor. He had been photographing professionally for more than 2 years, assisting his father, Lo Vin, after the latter was injured during street riots. Together, they formed a team that boasted Saigon's oldest and youngest working photographers. Lo Vin, a cameraman for 44 years, was born in North Vietnam and studied art and literature at a French university, before turning to photography for sustenance when times grew tough. He traveled across Indochina, not marrying until he was 43, and soon after, fled with his bride to Saigon to escape the communists in the north. Hung and his father began their days at 5 a.m., rarely finishing before 9 p.m., working every single day. In quieter times, they zipped around Saigon on a motorbike, covering a myriad of events from official ceremonies to fires, capturing anything that might make news. Hung assisted with film processing and printing before selling fresh prints to local newspapers and foreign news agencies. His small, slim frame and childlike face were both hindrance and help in his work. Police often stopped him at checkpoints, demanding to know his intention. Calmly, he would explain he was the son of photographer Lo Vin, show his credentials and cameras, and usually continue on his way. The press corps in Saigon often witnessed the advantage of his size. Amidst the jostling photographers, Hung would wriggle through the throng, emerging at the front to snap away, his diminutive stature ensuring he never blocked those behind him, who in turn allowed him his prime position. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more content. Also, don't forget to share this video with your friends. We appreciate your support. Bye.